Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the Most High God, the Heavenly Father, the true God of heaven and earth. And Yahweh Shai is the only begotten Son of the Most High, the Messiah, the Alpha Spirit, which means the first spirit created by the first author of all things, which is Yahweh, which these are the true names of the Most High and His only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew tongue, in Lashon Kodash, which means holy language. Also want to give double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, and the upcoming elders that rule well, that teach well. A great millstone and peace and blessings unto the elect, unto the house of David, unto the 144,000 elect men, whoever you may be. And salute and shalom to the fellow laborers testifying of Yahweh Shai and publishing His word. My name is Zakaria, and the focus of this lesson is surrounding suffering. Surrounding on how suffering is necessary. Suffering is profitable onto the body. In most cases, in fact, I say in, I say it completely, let me put it like that. Completely, suffering is more beneficial, more profitable than things that may seem to be profitable on this side. For example, wine or strong drink. Suffering, being chastised, going through your trials of your faith, that is more profitable than wine, a thing desired. That is more profitable than a woman, a thing desired. That is more profitable than a vineyard or a fruitful garden, a thing desired. Is more profitable than a business, a thing desired. Suffering in this thing is common, it's not strange, but it's necessary for your faith. It's necessary for your journey, to everlasting life. And that's the focus of this lesson, and Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. I don't have anything prepared. In fact, I have a couple of scriptures in mind right now. But, I don't have nothing, really prepared. What inspired me to do this lesson, Lord willing, was the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. I came across a post concerning on how alcohol, there's no real benefit to you. Now, there's a balance to everything. Alcohol is a thing whereby people, forget their misery for a moment. And sometimes, alcohol rejoices the heart, it calms the mood. And to some degree, if you use it the right way, you could a person can be reset, or reset mentally, had that cool down, that drinking. So I ain't condemning that action, You're not off. You're not erring if you drink. You know, the prophet's drunk. You know, ain't nothing wrong with drinking. You know, but I said to myself when I read that post, what's more profitable than alcohol is suffering, man. And that's true. You know, if there's anything, you know, that need to exist amongst, you know, for example, wine and even woman, you know, or other things that may be desired, it's suffering, man. And that may sound strange onto the ears of a lot, onto the ears of the majority, you know. But, you know, let's just jump straight into the scriptures, you know. Let's go here. And again, nothing prepared. I'm going through the spirit, you know. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. You know? And this applies now, symbolically. You know? You should always be in a state of being really, you know, realistic about what's to come. Now, when you go into the word mourning, it ultimately surrounds, you know, mourning for the dead. In this case, when it comes to being in His truth, you know, we're taking, you know, how to put it, you know, bear with me. Basically, we're learning about, you know, the bitter, you know, reality that we're all subject to. You know, many is finna die. You know, many are about to be destroyed. You know, even those who know themselves to be Israelites will be destroyed. You know, mass death it's finna come upon all. You know, or come upon a large number of people in these last days, upon a majority, shall I say. You know? So knowing, you know, that this time is coming, you know, that, you know, is bitter onto our soul, onto our mind. It's the truth, but nevertheless, it is a bitter truth. So that put us in a realist mentality, you know, understand reality for what it is and moving according to it. And not too many people, only few, you know, have that opportunity to see this truth. To understand, you know, the extreme and grave predicament that we're all in. That we really all were born into. You know? And what's set before us is what? Life and death. You know? You do the things that are written and the things that are acceptable in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. You live. If you don't, then you die. And that's the reality that we come to learn. You know? And not many men can, you know, not many strong men can get down with that, you know, with that particular doctrine that is being taught by the prophets. You know? Because it's bitter. But we got down with it. We basically digested that, you know, and contain that in our belly. You know, it's to the point where, according to, the doctrine, according to the scriptures, not many people can, remain in this truth due to the bitterness, due to the bitter truth and the bitter experiences that come by it, that come by being the truth. You have many fallouts, but the Lord have ultimately, gave you particular men and you few sisters ability to retain these scriptures in your mind, to retain or remain in this truth. Gave you a strong iron belly, So it's really, common to be in a series of solemn, stressed out, concerned mentality, not in the sense of wickedness, but in the righteous sense, because you fear the Lord, There's nothing wrong with being, concerned or cautious in a way, in righteousness, The scriptures tell you, in the book of Proverbs, that, in fact, let's get it real quick. Is it Proverbs chapter 21? I may be mistaken. Yeah. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. So you see the danger ahead and you hide yourself, right? But the rest, the majority, it says, but the simple pass on and are punished. And that's true. And knowing the danger coming, knowing the situation, the grave and serious situation that we're all subject to, that could bring forth suffering, inward mental suffering. And that's just the reality, man. So in a sense, we are in a house of mourning, because really, when you really think about it, we're beholding, dead people walking, dead men, dead women, all who don't receive this truth, all who don't get right, even ourselves including. If we, we're dead men, and if that don't, contribute to the suffering, then, that contributes to the suffering, that's part of the suffering. It says then to go to the house of mourning. Then to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Verse 3, it says sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. Now we get into the profitable side, being in a solemn and, sorrowful, mentality, in a repenting spirit, being, mindful of the grave and the grim side of things that is ultimately reality, and that's really better than laughter, man. It says, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. Yeah, you profit by it. So those, you believers, which I'm sure all of you, when it comes to, receiving persecution or being mocked or whatever, going through, your hardships or your trials in this faith of yours, while maintaining the faith of yours, maintaining a walk or relationship with the Lord, and through that, you're going to be made, better, man. It says the heart of the wise is in a house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in a house of mirth. So let's, add more into it. Let's go to the book of, I want to say Hebrews, but let's go to the book of Corinthians real quick. Going to Paul's epistles. Bear with me. Bear with me. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. So Paul, he's going to show you, the purpose of suffering and the profit of suffering and how suffering is necessary while maintaining, faith in Yahweh Shai. Because everybody suffer, really. Everybody suffer. The wicked, the unbeliever, and the just, and the believer, they all suffer due to what, happened from the beginning. Adam. All men have a heavy yoke upon them. It tell you that in the book of Sirach, even the heathens. Yeah, they all have their suffering. But when it comes to you, your suffering, it's really, a lot of suffering, that comes when it comes to you believers, comes because you're involved in this truth. You're involved in this faith. And you have your own, your own portion of suffering due to being in faith. And through that suffering, you have to maintain your faith. So it's different, in a way, But anyway, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. It says, at least I should be exalted. This is what Paul said. At least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh. So Paul, he's basically, speaking on how, he shouldn't, be exalted, above measure, basically being proud, being, puffed up due to the knowledge that he received. And he goes on to say there was given to him a thorn in the flesh, which ultimately symbolized an infirmity that he received, whether it was a bodily disease or mental disease or, whatever. Maybe he went through some cognitive, dysfunctions or whatever due to him being stoned, whatever, I don't know. That's not, completely, revealed. But he received, some type of sickness or infirmity. He's going to go on to say that. It says, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me. So Paul, he understood that there was a demon, a devil sent to him by the spiritual demon Satan to what basically attack him. And that was that disease or that infirmity that he received. Now, ultimately, nevertheless, though, it's from Satan, it was still permitted by Yahweh. Because Satan can do nothing without the Lord's, permission. Without the Lord's knowing, without the Lord's acknowledgement, So really, This was sent to him for a purpose. It says, least I should be exalted above measure. So he went through that. He was given that suffering, that infirmity, that he may, be humbled, that he may, be mild in spirit, or be, lowly. Verse 8 says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice. So because of this infirmity that he received, because of this attack, he sought the Lord 3 times, in prayer. We can guess, that it may depart from me. That this infirmity may depart from him. It says, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And this is what the Lord said to the Apostle Paul, which also applies to us all. Because everything that's written is written for our learning. All scripture is profitable. So Yahweh Shai basically told him, hey, my grace, you being in this truth, you having this truth, you having this opportunity, of life, you having faith, the gift of righteousness, that is enough for you. That's really, really more than enough, I say, So, even through suffering, you really don't, you really don't need anything else but this grace, man. You be, if you had all the things in the world, but without the grace and mercy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, then you're nothing, and you're miserable, and you're in is dirt and worms and maggots. It's really nothing, man, if you don't have no grace. If the Lord not dealing with you, and this is what we all have to acknowledge when it comes to being on this side, being subject to payments, being poor or suffering, because of the your damn woman, or because of your environment, or because of, things that arise in the truth or whatever, and you really, have the greatest thing right now, which is this grace, man, having his faith, the Lord dealing with you. It says, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So Yahweh Shai said that to Paul, hey, the more, hey, you are weak, the closer you are to being, defeated in this world, or, the more you suffer, the more, the Lord is dealing with you, or the more the Lord's strength is resting upon you. And I perceive that as well. And that's just the reality. When you at a low point, or you suffering, that's when you have more hope, more trust in the Lord. That's when, sometimes that's when you really on fire doing the work. Through that, that's when you're really more refined mentally in the spirit, through that, low point, through that weakness. And that's how the Lord, get you. That's how the Lord approach you, through that suffering. So weakness, suffering, that's necessary. It's more necessary than wine or woman, man. Anything to be desired, really, a lot of things to be desired, really, It's more necessary than riches. You know? Because if there be any man that's not being chastised, or that's not, being weakened, or being suffering, or being, or suffering, then you may be a damn bastard. You may not be of the elect. Because the elect is going to go through chastisement from the Lord. It's going to go through suffering. And that's a form of chastisement. You're going through suffering. So Paul, he was being chastised. He further on says this: most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Yahushua Mashiach may rest upon me. So, suffering is necessary for your connection with the Lord, man, with the power of Yahushua, man. It's necessary for your fellowship with Yahushua. And this form of teaching is plain unto they which understand the Lord. It's plain. It says, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And this is something that is said in the world, right? But they really got it from the scriptures, man. When you are weak, that's when you're strong, man. That's when you're the strongest. Or strong, that's when you're most strong, or shall I say. That's when when it's, you being in this, this truth is affecting you the most. So being weakened, suffering, being, put on a low point in this world, that's profitable. Because that's where strength is bred. That's where strength is produced. And the same thing could be applied to all men, generally, even outside this truth, people acknowledge this fact, suffering is necessary for a man to be refined. Some of the strongest men went through it, but when it comes to you elect, you're being brought through this suffering. You're being brought onto a glory that cannot be reached, that cannot be grasped by the majority, but something that is given by Yahweh, by Yahushua, Yahweh through Yahushua, man. Everlasting life, immortality. A kingdom, power, authority, slaves, and, great wonders the Lord will reveal unto you elect, Let's go to the book of James real quick. So if there's anything that should be seen necessary and profitable by us all, is suffering. You know? You know? James chapter 1, verse 12. It says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, yea, suffering, trial, hardship. In fact, let's go into that word temptation real quick.
Strong's G 3986, Pyrasmas. Pyrasmas.
You know, adversity, affliction, trouble, sent by God, and serving to test or prove one's character, faith, and holiness. You know? Experience of evil. You know? Adversity. So it's the Lord, testing you, trying you, sending it to you, So it says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried. And one of the biggest temptations that we're all finna go through is what the hour temptation, surrounding the mark of the you-know-who, of the beast. Surrounding this man's biometric digital currency system that he will establish with force. With unrighteousness, with threats, with violence. Where he's going to cause many to receive a digital microchip, a real literal piece of technology in the flesh. And through that, people will be able to buy and sell. Without it, you won't be able to buy and sell. You won't have a position or a place to stand in that society when it comes. And that's going to be one of the main top temptations that all will go through, even simultaneously. All you believers, all you saints. And that's major prophecy. It says, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. So when you're tried, you're going to receive your immortality. It says, when the Lord, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Now, this is what the Lord said. This is what the Apostle Paul said, which ultimately is through the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The epistles of Paul, if any man say that they are not authorized by the Lord, or think those scriptures are not authorized by the Lord, then they may not be of the Lord. Let's see where it is. First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. It says charity, which means love, translates to love, right? You got the love towards Yahweh and towards Yahweh Shai, and you got your love towards the church, your brothers and sisters who believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, who do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And let me make a statement on that. When it comes to love towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and love towards your fellow believers, your fellow Israelites, who do the will of the Lord, who subscribe to this truth as well, you cannot love one without the other, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Because those things, loving towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, love towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and love towards your fellow believers, they are basically linked to each other. You know, they complement each other, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And this is what is mentioned in the book of John, St. John, I think, First John. I meant to say First John, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it mentions on how if you came in love with them or him who you see, how can you love him which you don't see? And him that you see is what? Your fellow brothers who believe in the truth as you do, who do the will as you do. If you came and loved them, how can you love him which you don't see? You know, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And this is why Yahweh Shai said, you know, to the people when he was on the scene, he said, you know, the two greatest commandments is what? Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy strength. And forgive me, I may not be verbatim with, you know, quoting it, but basically you get the idea. That's one of the greatest commandments in the scriptures. And another commandment that he mentioned to be great is what? To love thy neighbor as thyself. And he mentioned on how they are alike. Meaning what? They are tied to each other. They are, you know, connected. You can't do the one without the other. And if you do the one, you definitely have to do the other by default. You do one, you do the other by default. So loving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is what? Keeping the Lord's commandments, as is written in 1 John chapter 5. But it's also, as you read on in 1 John chapter 5, it's also, you know, loving the children of God, keeping the commandments. You know? And that's why it's mentioned, and this is what people don't understand. That's why it says God is love. You know, because he's in that equation. You know? If there's anything that defines, you know, love between individuals, love between man and humankind, and so-called humankind, then the Lord, he got to be in that equation, you know? Because if you don't love Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, how can you love those who you see? If you don't, you know, love those you see, how can you love Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? You know, I just wanted to say that. So next time when you do evil to any one of your fellow believers, you know, one that's in the truth, you know, you got to understand. You're not only doing evil to that individual, but you're doing evil to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You're offending the Lord. You know? You know, you rob or you steal from, you know, any fellow believer. You ain't transgressing against that brother alone. You transgressing against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And this is why I said, vengeance is mine, the Lord said. Because ultimately, you know, the Lord is going to, you know, the Lord take offense as well. Because here it is, you breaking the law. You know, you transgressing against your brother. You know, you hitting your brother or your sister or whatever. You know, that's evil toward me. Because loving thy neighbor as thyself, that's a law that I established. That's something that's pleasing in my sight. So doing evil to the Lord, that's doing evil to, doing evil to your neighbor, that's doing evil to the law. And that's doing evil to the Lord, man. You know? And, let me read on. Let me get back on track. I just wanted to say that. You know, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4, it says, charity suffereth long. You know, so that's love, man. That's where love is demonstrated. You know, when you're suffering, or when you endure suffering because of your love. And this applies to our love towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, you ain't gonna fail or fall out of the truth or desert the Lord because of poverty or because of some, you know, earthly suffering, man. You're gonna endure that, you know? Or because, you know, it says, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doeth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own. And that's the thing, when it comes to you believers, you're being brought in a selfless mentality. You're learning selflessness, if that's a word. You know, you're learning selflessness. You know, so you're not going to seek your own. And this is why we all have to give our, you know, double honors to the elder apostles. Because in, you know, many years of being in this truth, they suffered with it. Whether, because of what they taught, because of what they were involved in, or in their, you know, personal life, which ultimately, that's from the Lord anyways. You know, suffering of your personal life, that's from the Lord, man. You know? As well. So they suffered while maintaining faith and fear of the Lord. And what they have done through the years, taught, fed the sheep, tended to the church. You know, when they themselves was a damn wounded, I don't want, a dog is a low animal, but they themselves was a wounded soldier, and they tended to you. Gave alms, helped the brotherhood, as well as all you other believers. You saints, y'all in the process of doing that as well. You think about that Yahweh Shai, that widow that Yahweh Shai took account of, regarded, or had respect towards, who was a widow, a poor widow. She had a small amount of money, and she gave all that she had onto the temple. And Yahweh Shai, he had respect onto that, because here it is, you're a widow, you have no man, so you have no help being a woman, and you have poverty. But even in your poverty, you give much due to your love towards Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and love towards your neighbors. Because when it comes to giving to the temple back in the day, that was for God, and for the poor as well, if I'm not mistaken. And we all got, take that as an example. She gave, in fact, it is mentioned by Yahweh Shai, she gave more than those who had much, who had a stable life with riches, because she gave out of her poverty. They gave out of their wealth, out of their abundance. So basically, she gave more. The millionaire that gave $50, You know? Give less than the poor woman, you know, who worked 9 to 5 and gave $50. The one who make 9 to 5 gave more than, you know, than the millionaire, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You know? It says, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. It says, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. It says, verse 7, beareth all things. So that's a form of love, when you endure things while maintaining a walk with the Lord, maintaining your faith, your integrity. It says, believeth all things, hopeth all things, and endureth all things. You know? Charity never faileth. You know, so that's a form of love. You know? So really, charity is necessary. Suffering is necessary. Necessary, you know? Hey, what the scripture says, before honor. Let's get it real quick. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 33. The fear of Yahweh is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. You know, so before honor, you know, you go through a process of humiliation. You know, you go through it. You know, bear with me. I just woke up. Had to stretch real quick. But before honor is humility, man. You know? That's the truth. Humility goes into the word humiliation, or being depressed. You know, now you have circumstances that put you down, you know, which ultimately, you know, leads to your mind being down. You know, that's where you get the word depression from. Your mind is down, you're in a bad mood, you know. Bad thoughts, bad, you know, reasoning, you know. In a sense of being, you know, dark or low, you know, in a sense, you know. Or feeling like shit, or feeling like nothing, you know. I'm gonna end it off with this. In fact, let's see. You know, so Lord willing, you get the point. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 7, it says, if ye endure, we could give verse 6. It says, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, so he brings suffering upon. And it comes in different forms, in different ways. You know, every brother, sister have their own, you know, design of hell, or you know, God-given design of hell, you know. It says, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. And that's, you know, what the scripture says. If any man come to serve the Lord, prepare his soul for temptation. I'm loosely paraphrasing, but hey, you know, you should, you know, that's what comes with it, serving the Lord. You know, it says, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? You know, so if you endure that suffering, you know, the Lord, those of you who are in the truth, not the world, because the world, there's suffering as well. But what's the difference with you is you have the faith, you're in the truth, you're involved in the truth. You know? You know, it says if you endure chastening, and the thing is, you know, the majority, they're, a lot of them, they suffer for wrongdoing, and a lot of times you believers suffer for good doing. You know, you don't even make God do none. Which not to say that we don't sin, or we don't, go off from time to time, but but suffering that comes upon the you believers is outside of wrongdoing. It's not a direct. It says, for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers. So all the sons of the Lord suffer chastisement. It says, then are ye bastards and not sons. So you're a bastard if you ain't suffering. You got it good on this side. Personal life is good. You may not be the elect. It says, furthermore, we have had fathers. In fact, let's just jump down to verse, bear with me. I just woke up, verse 11. It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous. So it's not supposed to be joyous. It's not going to be joyous. It says, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward, it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So it's going to produce you becoming better. You're refined. You're strengthened through that process of suffering. And it's our temptation that's coming. Major prophecy, man. Those of you who endure that, rejoice. In fact, the scripture speaks about, in fact, let's go with it. Let's go there real quick. Job chapter 5 verse 22. At destruction and famine, thou shalt laugh. So when all hell breaking loose, when there's evils, when Jacob troubles his head, when it's all present, when the things that's being warned by the prophets is all present, man. People dying, people suffering, misery upon man. You elect, you're gonna be laughing, man, rejoicing. You're gonna have that calm cheer. Why? Because first of all, the things that, you believed, was shown to be true. So that's going to be a faith booster. But, one of the main reasons I believe that a lot of you, and this is something that I believe is really going to happen. A lot of you saints, a lot of you believers, you're going to be laughing when all hell is breaking loose. And one of the main reasons is this. Is because that glory is right around the corner. Salvation is right around the corner. You have not received the mark. And that, that itself is a confidence boost, because only the elect ain't gonna receive the mark, ain't gonna take the mark. So that's some of the reasons why I believe there's gonna be laughter in your mouths, in these last days. I'm gonna close off from that. Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. I'm gonna give double honors to the elder apostles, elder bishops, and upcoming elders. All praise and honor and glory be to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Shalom.